Well, good morning and hello, everyone. If we've never met before, my name is Lindsay Helm. I'm the founder and CEO of Empower Employee, where we are connecting the military community with corporate education and technology solutions. And we typically use, if you've never seen Empower Hour before, use this as an opportunity to showcase some of the game changers, some of the services, some of the career opportunities that are out there for the military community. And I'm really excited about today's guest. So I'm just going to pop her up on stage and let her introduce herself. I have Andrea Singsaas from the Time Group. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. And I'm going to bring her up and let her tell you all a little bit about who she is and what she does. So welcome, Andrea. Hello, good morning.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm good. Just trying to get amped up. It's early in Hawaii, getting my first cup of coffee, tucked under my belt. The kids kicked out of the house for school. The usual stuff that we go through, when you're heading in or starting your day. How are you?
I so far, so good.
Good. So, Andrea, could you tell a little bit who you are?
Absolutely. So my name is Andrea, and I am the founder of the Time Group. And the Time Group is just me right now. I'm a solopreneur, and the Time Group is my business that I use to do executive coaching. I also do some public speaking right now to help spread some of the leadership lessons that I share with my clients to larger groups. And then I also do some contracted projects that align with my mission from time to time. And that's been kind of fun too, because my background is I earned my MBA and my PMP throughout this crazy military journey. And that was kind of the start of my business. So blending all of my strengths into one really multifaceted umbrella.
Yeah. So when you talk about executive coaching, it's we didn't really cover this, but I just thought I'd ask you the question: what does that look like for you, and what is one of the pieces of advice or lessons learned from executive coaching that you've experienced over the last year?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, executive coaching isn't just for executives. Just because you don't have a corner office in the C-suite doesn't mean that you can't benefit from coaching to become a better leader. Oftentimes you're put into a role of leadership because somebody sees something in you, but they don't often take the time to help you develop and sharpen those skills to really be the best people leader that you can be. Usually you're a great individual contributor with a lot of amazing attributes, but there's very rarely that bridge to get you from contributor to leader provided. And so coaching is for anybody that wants to grow professionally, and especially if they're thinking about getting from a contributor role to a leadership role and needing a little bit of help with that. And that coaching, it looks different for everybody. I don't have a coaching workshop. It's not just you show up and you do this thing and everybody's the same. I'm different because everybody else is different. And the services that I provide are tailored to each individual client. And we talk specifically about their goals, their needs, and how to get there from here.
Well, I know that I do a lot of business coaching kind of on the side as somebody who is built, scaled, and hopefully I'll be able to tell somebody that I exited a business someday. That I get a lot of people that come to me and they want some of that, advice and knowledge that has been passed on to me. And I find it to be invigorating, but also draining as a coach, because you're dumping your life into people, and then sometimes a little bit of frustration on you can't tell people what to do, but you can definitely take said horse to water and baptize it. So my question to you is, how do you stay motivated and continue to grow in your field?
Absolutely. Well, I stay motivated primarily. Well, there's a couple different reasons. First of all, I want to be an example for my kids. I have 3 girls. They're still quite young, but I want them to be able to see that as a woman, as a professional, you can succeed professionally and personally, and you can find it's never going to be a balance, but you can find your stride throughout whatever season you're in and find ways to grow. So that's part of it. But then the other thing is my clients really do motivate me. I meet amazing, mostly women, honestly, that are doing great things. Many of them are in male-dominated fields, and they are kicking butt. And it is so cool to see what they have been able to accomplish. And then once we partner, kind of watch them launch from there. It's been really cool and inspiring to see. Everybody is so different and every story is so different. So to be just a small part of that story for them is really what keeps me motivated and keeps me growing and doing this. And especially with the speaking, that's something kind of new. It's something I really enjoy. I like teaching, but not in a classroom. I would never, oh my gosh, I could never be an elementary school teacher or something like that. But in terms of being able to share those lessons in smaller snippets for people who might not be able to otherwise afford coaching, that's been a really great opportunity for me to share some of those lessons too. So that's been motivating as well to bring it to a bigger audience.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely, being in tech and STEM, and then being like in the military before that, I definitely hear you on being in a male dominated field. That's kind of been like my song and dance. And you're right. For me, actually got a text this morning. I can't tell all of the details and I won't drop any names because she knows who she is, but she sent me a text at like, what I call like 0 dark 30 in Hawaii and was like, oh my God, I finally got that job with so-and-so that I've been waiting on forever and ever. And, that's her announcement to make and I'll let her do that. But that's what motivates me, like, especially working in the employment space and working in the tech space is just hearing these stories or like seeing, well, like you said, predominantly moms who are returning to the workforce suddenly become, not suddenly, but sometimes go back to being the primary breadwinner and finding their own value. It like really hypes me up in a way that's probably unhealthy. And I get excited, but at the same time, really, really tired. So, for me, we know that we share tons of resources that empower employee. Can you tell us a little bit about the resources and the support you provide to the military community?
Absolutely. So most people know me because I'm not afraid to speak up and I just put it out there in writing a lot on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. I'm everywhere, but I bring up the issues that people don't love to talk about, right? Or they do love to talk about, but there aren't solutions yet. And not in a negative way, but that's what I do. I like to really highlight the fact that military spouse employment specifically is not just a military spouse issue. This is an issue that it ripples far beyond right now the active duty piece of a service member's career. It ripples into their transition, into their role after service, because if we aren't employed throughout their active duty years and throughout the PCS cycle and all of those things, that goose egg on the balance sheet, you can't make up for that lost compound interest. And often service members that are transitioning are meeting really tough decisions when it comes to their first job after serving for 10 years, 20 years, whatever it might be. They have to take whatever pays the most versus something that they'd really, really love to do to simply make up for that lost income in order to have a great financial future for their family, to be able to pay for college for their growing children, to be able to, afford a house after the ETS, whatever it may be. So that's some of what I talk about. And really, I don't have all the resources yet or anything built. I'm working on something right now with the Arizona Coalition for Military Families that I think is going to be a really great tool for spouses. But it hasn't gotten off the ground yet. So that's kind of a teaser, but really pointing spouses to the resources they need, no matter where they are in their journey, is something that I do a lot. And I work with AMSI, the Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs. They really boosted me as I was growing my business. I really support the American Corporate Partners, the mentoring program for service members and spouses. There are so many great programs out there, but it is kind of hard to navigate them. And so the initiative, I don't know if initiative program I'm working on is going to help support spouses through navigating the right thing for the right time for their journey. So
It sounds really, really awesome. And I wholeheartedly can get behind everything that you're doing. So with all of that, it sounds like, there's a lot of mentorship that happens. So giving you an opportunity to share your wisdom, what's the best piece of advice for a military spouse? And then what's your best piece of advice for a transitioning service member and or veteran?
Absolutely. One of the things that I often say, I say this to my clients and I'll say this to spouses, is you get to choose. You can choose to be the victim or the victor in this scenario. And it's all about your mindset. And somebody once said that I was like a mindset coach. And I'm not sure if I believe that, but maybe I am. But you get to choose whether you're going to be the victim in this scenario or whether you're going to be the victor. There are positives and negatives to every situation you come upon in your life, whether it's your military spouse journey, your military journey, or a civilian career. It doesn't matter. There's always something that comes up. And you can choose if you are going to see that from a positive light or a negative light. And you can choose the woe is me approach. I can't do anything. This has been put upon me. Or you can take charge and take action and utilize whatever tools, systems are in place, anything to your advantage to grow and be the best that you can. So I think that's one thing that I say a lot, but maybe is the hardest thing to do, because when you are moving so often and you have put in your 200th plus job application, when you have went to school, when you have the certifications, when you have a variety of experience in different industries, like, no, really, I can do this job. Like, you just want to reach through your computer screen and say that to the recruiter. When you're sort of at the end of your rope, it's hard. It's hard to take that, to extract yourself from that victim mentality, but you have to. You're never, never, never going to get ahead sitting in your own soup. And there is a time for it. Absolutely. When, you're in the thick of PCS season and your kids are all homesick and whatever, and your spouse is TDY, who knows? There's always going to be moments of that. And that's what your spouse friends are for. That's why you have this community, but you also have this community to grow and develop, and to expand yourself.
Yeah, and from that side of the house, that's one of the reasons that we have Link for Business. When you're talking about it's a bigger problem, so we have a written by a military spouse and veteran community guide and SHRM accredited training course that we provide to, that's the education piece, to employers, that's worth 3 PDCs on how to hire and retain military spouses, so that when it comes to the interview, the spouse shouldn't, as long as they've taken our course, have to say, I can do this job. And I know that sometimes we find a lot of value in the job hunt, or we feel like our value is put on what that interview is. But the person that texted me today, for example, that it finally happened, is like a high level person who, has been waiting months to get an answer, and messaged me one day and was super frustrated and was just like, oh, I can't. And I said, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just follow up like that one more time? Just be, somebody said this about me, and I hope that they can say it, continue to say, be pleasantly persistent. Like, right. Don't give up, don't whatever. And that was part of the text. Thank you for encouraging me and like setting my head on straight. I'm like, this is somebody that I value, that if it had come to me and said, Lindsay, you said that yesterday and it hurt my feelings, I'd probably just like, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, that kind of person. So totally agree with all of that. So I'm really kind of excited to kind of follow along on your journey and see, and the advice you give is completely solid. And then kind of the last question, for today, is, how do people get in contact with you? I know I dropped your LinkedIn in the chat, but is there another way?
Absolutely. So a few different ways. I am on LinkedIn quite a lot. I answer my DMs there. That's how I connect with our military community, but then also the civilian community as well, that's interested in learning more about military spouses and our employment challenges. So happy to connect there. Feel free to follow along and see what I post and what I share about my journey as a solopreneur, but then also as a spouse, and the advocacy work that I do with that. And then also I have a website that you can connect with me there if you're interested in coaching or you need somebody to come in and do some speaking, happy to do that. I speak in person or virtually. And then with regard to projects, I don't talk about it a lot, but if there is a project that's related to things that I advocate for, it's something that I definitely consider coming in and helping. Usually smaller businesses or nonprofits run projects that would align with supporting the military community. So that's a little bit about what I do. And I think the final takeaway is it's so important to remember as a spouse that you have value. And when you're talking about your person that you connected with and helped encourage them to get a role, I am consistently writing for me, the me that I was 2 years ago, when I had child care, when I had a supportive spouse, when I had all the degrees and the letters after my name that I ever thought I would need in the world and I couldn't get a role. And I write for her because it is hard. It is hard to continually follow along this unknown path and to not, know where it leads, to know that you got on this journey because you fell in love, because you have a family, all of those things. But to have so much out of your control, it can feel really hopeless. It can feel really lonely. And it's so important to remind spouses that not only do you have value, but you bring so much to the marketplace as an employee, as a solopreneur or entrepreneur, that you even, it's not just about work. It's about supporting the mission as well. We are all in this for so many reasons, and we're supporting a mission. We're supporting our family financially. We're supporting them, physically, doing so much of the default parenting from time to time. And I write for everybody because it's so important to bring us together as a community. And there hasn't been one real spot quite yet to do that. So hopefully I can connect more people that way too, to make sure people know they aren't alone.
Yeah, you're a champion. I feel like I should take this minute since she said I respond to all my LinkedIns. I try so hard to go line by line and answer. So if you're watching this today, she got me. And I have not responded to you. Chances are my brain responded to you, and my fingers did not. With all the chaos of life, I possibly answered you out loud and then put my phone down and went to do what I was doing. So if I owe you a response on something, please ping me today. I'll do the best that I can to do that. LinkedIn, I think, can be really overwhelming when you get, a ton of connections and a ton of referrals, which I'm so grateful for to get to be a part of, in the community. But figured I'd just take this time to, if I miss.
It's a lot different as a recruiter than it is, when somebody reaches out to me, it's a little bit different. They need to pay me usually to do something for them versus they're coming to you so they can get paid,
Well, I mean, they come to us for the act that we've created, which is skill-based matching. We're taking kind of that resume out of it, and they come to us because we are a DOL TAP, a Department of Labor partner. Where we offer resume writing and coaching services, for free because that's what we signed on to do. So we have those opportunities if they need it. And then doing direct connections and mentorship inside of the app is really fun because you can swipe on a mentor based on your skill set. So that is something that has been really amazing and kind of a game changer for the community because I'm able to list out, what I'm looking for by clicking a button versus like having to write it out and go through that process. So I just hope that continues to grow. But yeah, well, we are all covered today on Empower Hour. So tune in 2 weeks, everyone. And let's thank Andrea for joining for our next surprise guest. I think we were supposed to do, I think it's supposed to be T-Mobile, but I need to confirm. I'm a terrible person. It's been a little crazy, so I'm going to reach out to them. Hopefully it is, and we'll go from there. But thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Andrea. Everyone feel free to reach out to her for coaching if you need it, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on Empower Hour. Thanks again.
Thank you.